Varlack-Butler is a daughter, sister, mom, grandmother, and wife who is also a visionary restorative equity educator, executive coach, and social worker. Her mission, driven by a deep commitment to inclusivity, sustainability, and the transformative power of discourse, finds her creating pathways for healing as the sage waymaker at Worth Justice Inc. As a global citizen, her international work includes efforts to combat violence against women and youth in Haiti, implementing restorative practices among adolescents affected by HIV in Romania, and fostering inclusive pedagogy in South Africa. Within academia, May has enriched educational landscapes as a King's Chavez Sparks visiting professor, held an adjunct professorship at MCNY and Vermont Law and Graduate School, and was an instructor for USD's Restorative Justice Facilitation and Leadership Professional Certificate Program. Her collaborative efforts with DEI officers and community leaders highlight her unwavering dedication to equitable outcomes. As the founder of Brand Me Beautiful, she empowers survivors, women, and girls to counter disempowering narratives and reaffirm their self-worth and power. Her recent recognition as a fellow in the Futures Without Violence Survivor Leadership Cohort underscores her continued dedication to advancing healing and transformative change. Ladies and gentlemen, this is May Varlack-Butler. Welcome to the I Am Woman show. I am super excited to have you here with us tonight. I can't wait to introduce to you. You just heard about her, everything about our guest speaker, and I can't wait to have you meet her tonight. So I'm just going to go right ahead and just welcome her. Welcome, May. How are you?
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm so honored and blessed to be here with you this evening.
Awesome. And we're so excited to have you. So I know they're all at the edge of their seat and they want to learn so much more about you, and your thoughts as we talk a little bit about resilience here tonight. I want you to tell us, what is your definition of resilience? When you hear that word, what's your definition?
When I hear the word resilient, so it has two impacts on me when I hear it. The first thing I think about is a resilient person, a resilient woman is a woman who understands that if she falls or if she fails, she is not a failure, right? That instead of recognizing or thinking that she's a failure, she really understands that resilience means whether it's raggedy, whether it's all well put together, or however it shows up, that you can get through it, but you got to give yourself the grace and the space to grow through what you go through. So that's what I think of with resilience. And then just from a social justice perspective, because I am a social justice activist, and I do a lot of work with racial identity work. But from that perspective, I would say, because of who I am as a Black African woman, American woman from the African diaspora, I'm resilient just because I'm Black. I'm resilient because of my ancestors. I'm resilient because not only did I have to heal from the trauma that was transmitted, right? But I also am the recipient of all the brilliance that was transmitted as well. So all of that to me makes up what resilience is. So resilience to me isn't something that is this social construct that we have to live by, but it's really fluid and flexible, and it represents our mission, our faith, our belief, our mindset. Because if we have a mindset that if we do one, two, and three, and it doesn't work out, then that means we're a failure, and we retreat in shame. Then we're not leaning into that resiliency. We're not owning who we are. So when I think about that, I just know that I am the bounce back person. I can bounce back.
I love that. I am the bounce back person. I just love that. And I like what you said because just to be black, you're correct. You are absolutely correct. Just to be black, we have to be resilient because of everything that comes with it. Could you tell us about a time where you had to show your level of resilience or maybe a story? Because I know we have many stories that you can share, but if you can share one story where you had to exude that level of resilience.
So one story that I will share, and I'll share it from when I was a mom earlier on, because my children are much older now. When my son was in high school, I went through a really tough time and I was depressed. And talking about recovering from being depressed when you're a parent raising two children after being divorced and all the things that are happening, right? And so what happened was I had to really reckon with this reality that, I didn't transition through that period in space in life the way I wanted to, ideally the way I wanted to, because in my mind I'm supposed to be this amazing, perfect woman, mother, attentive and things like that. But life caught up to me because I kept suppressing. I kept trying to shake it off, like they said at church, or pray it off, right? And all of those things work. So I will never negate that because God is my anchor, right? That's where I get my help from. I can look to the hills and know where my help comes from. However, we're to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So leaning into that wisdom, it's really being able to say that I'm not at a good place. I wasn't at a good place. I did what I can do during that time. And when I was depressed, I I had to give my son who was in high school, I had to give him money so he can go shopping because he came to me and said, "Mommy, you keep ordering food out for us." Like they didn't understand what was going on, but he just things is it's different, Mommy. What's going on? So when he approached me, it wasn't a time for me to get defensive and act like I'm the adult in the house. No, Mommy needs some help. And thank you for coming to me. And this is what we're going to do. Yes, you can take the money so you can go shopping, right? And no child should have that responsibility. So for me, that felt like a moment of failure. That felt like a moment where I was the worst mom ever. However, it didn't work out that way. And that's why resiliency, knowing that if you fall, if you fail, it's not over. It's what are the lessons are you taking away? What are the lessons that you're learning from in that moment? And how are you giving yourself the grace that you need to grow in this moment of uncomfortability, grow in all the messiness, grow with the thoughts that might come up, accusing you of not being a good person, let alone a good mother. And so for me, I had to really lean into and I really hate using that word, lean into. I had to embrace all of me. I had to embrace my reality and not sulk and say, okay, I'm less than because I'm going through. No, how are we going to turn this into something that will work for us? Right. So I did go get therapy. And this was years ago because my son, he's 35 now. So this was years ago. But in taking all the steps to do what I needed to do, the one thing I remembered was failure is part of the process. Falling is part of the process. I'm rooted and grounded in my faith, so I know that the word says that a just man falls 7 times in a day, right? So, but they get back up and you keep going. And the thing about it was I didn't get back up fast enough for some people, but I got up just when God was raising me up, just when the community was coming to support me, just when my son decided, you know what, mom, I really like cooking. And to this, because of that situation, he went back to college. He went to college and he applied for a scholarship, and he won a scholarship to go study culinary cuisine in Italy for 3 months. So my son is a sous chef now. And I often tell him like that is a story of resilience, right? Because you too had to overcome something. You went through something. And so it's really owning up to this is what happened. This is the impact of what happened. But now how can we transform this? How can we move forward? And how can we grow through this with the lessons?
I love that. How can we grow through this with the lessons? Faced with situations, we don't look at them as a opportunity for growth. We most of the times we're just complaining along the ride, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? How much more
Right.
am I going to take? And so on. So I love the type of attitude that you had. It was an opportunity for growth. So I have to ask this question because this has been something that we've been discussing a lot. Why do you think that so many women are stuck in pursuing their purpose or chasing after the goals? What do you think are some of the things that are blocking them or hindering them from being able to accomplish?
The one thing that I would say at the root is an area or a place or a point in their life that is still nagging, that is still taunting them, that is still haunting and tormenting them, but they're not acknowledging, right? They're not owning it. Because sometimes what happened is people experience something, and when stigma is associated with something, for an example, even mental health, right? There's stigma around mental health. I'm a survivor of multiple traumas. There's stigma around that, right? So those are taboo topics that people don't like to talk about. So women just gloss over that. And they say, well, as long as I can be this, do that, have the money, have this, have that, I'm good. But are you? Right? Are you if you're snapping at your children? Are you if when you get to work you show up as a different person? Are you good if in between the moment something happens to you, you have a reaction before you pause and then respond, right? Because you have mastered your own self regulation. So you don't have to be agitated by something external to you, that you are like just rested. I like to think of it like, when you're engaging in your healing and you're facing all the things that society says let's not talk about, that is the time that you do your inner work. But for me, what I did was I just rested like a child would in their mama's arm at night after they've been hanging out and coming back from the park, and they're just like all laid out on the mom, right? I'm like that with God. I'm like, I don't have anything left. I need you, right? Or we just gonna go through this together, God, and you're gonna tell me how it's gonna work, what to do, which way to go. And sometimes, even with that, because of my relationship, he's like, okay, and there's something for you to do too, daughter. Right? There's something for you to do. And the thing to do is not all the things, all the shiny whistles and bells and all the shiny baubles to say, I got this, I got that, I got that. Do you have peace? Right? Do you have freedom to be who you are? Are you free from the expectations of other people? Right? Asking yourself those things. Do you see yourself? Do you see your humanity? Do you honor your humanity? Right? Are you taking time to rest and take care of yourself?
That's important. It's so necessary to rest. And I say that because I'm still learning that. I'm still learning that in the process. I have to be honest.
because sometimes that you should be resting. If my sister is watching right now, she'll be like, yep, that's but then you go like the quiet time because you're so accustomed going, you go like, ooh, there's something that needs to be done. But it's important that we really pause and take that time to definitely rest. So we're going to take a quick pause here just for a commercial break, and then we'll be right back. When we get back, we're going to be talking a little bit more about some of the trauma work that you've been doing, all the amazing work that you've been doing that so far with these phenomenal organizations. We're going to get into that as soon as we come back after this break. Stay with us.
Are you an international speaker, a coach, an author? Do you have something to share to help women feel empowered, encouraged, and inspired? If the answer is yes, then we are looking for you. We are looking for speakers for our 3-day virtual summit happening April 19th to 21st, and we are ready to hear what you have to share. If you have something that you want to share that you know can help women to birth their visions, birth their purpose, and walk in what God has called them to be, then you need to go right ahead and sign up for more information. This event is happening April 19th to April 21st, and you are the person that we are looking for. See you there.
That's right. So this event is happening April 19th to 21st. It is going to be a virtual 3-day summit. Listen to me. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for you if you are get out there and share your message, get your voice across, because people need to hear what you have to offer. There are women out there who are just ready to be empowered. It's a women's empowerment conference. It's not limited to only women speakers. We will have male speakers as well. So we're inviting males. If you are watching, you're tuning in, I want you to go ahead, just send us a quick email. Let us know your interest, and we'll send you the details so that you can be a part of this phenomenal lineup, because it's going to be super, super impactful. On part of the days, we're going to have a networking opportunity. That's going to be amazing. I'm excited about that, where we really get to meet each other, see what we're doing, what we have to offer, and get to learn more about what we do. So go ahead, if you're interested, go ahead and sign up for those persons who would be attending the actual summit. It's going to be free, so you will hear more about that registration as we get closer to the time for you to register. So let's welcome back Elton May as we continue our discussion here tonight. So we're talking about resilience. And just before we pause, the question that I said that we're going to be talking about now is some of your work that you've been doing. I know you do a lot of work dealing with trauma, dealing with, women who've been domestically abused here. There's so many things that you've been doing, especially the work you've been doing in Haiti and so on. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. So you're going way back to when I was in graduate school for social work. And part of why I even went back to school for social work is because I was in the helping profession. I was working as a rape crisis counselor, as a crisis intervention counselor. Like I kept doing all the things, and then as a substance abuse counselor, and I kept doing all the things. And I realized that just go get your master's so you can have the access you need to really expand the work that you're doing. And that's what I did. But while I was there, it was really important for me always to give back. So I went to a Jesuit school, and they have these mission trips. And one of the mission trips, well, it was more of a study tour to Haiti. And my personal passion is just working with women impacted by sexual abuse and domestic violence, um, at the core survivors, and then women who are professionals and leaders in their spaces. However, when we went to Haiti, it was really having these roundtable conversations to really talk about different ways we can heal, women can heal, because they already had something in place to sound a signal, like to let people know if someone was in trouble, like through a whistle. Women would wear whistles and different things like that. So they had things in place, but we really had this roundtable discussion where we just brainstormed on like healing methodologies. And Haiti has their own healing methodology that they used, and it was just amazing because they brought in the elders. So if I listen, I know I went there and I did some work there, but I have to say I have to honor the elders, right? My elders from Haiti were like, "No, you're one of us." They didn't make a distinction and say you're from America. No, they said you're one of us. And they educated me too. And part of that was, really listening to them because they wanted to understand how they can get their voices amplified. So we really worked with this. There's a man out there, I forget the name of the organization right now, and we did a partnership with them where they were writing their stories and then they were recording them and then translating them also in English so they can really impact the spaces and elevate their voices. So it was powerful that we were able to brainstorm and come up with something where they felt honored, right? To capture the oral traditions and to put it into paper so others can really understand. But what I wanted to say really quick that I learned was I kept looking my elders in the eye. And they quickly informed me, you do not look the elders in the eye. It's a sign of respect not to look them in their directly in their face, right? I'm me. I'm from, so I quickly adjusted, right? Because it's not about me walking in with my own ideals and saying, well, this is how I am, this is how I've always been, and that's it. No. Just like the Bible says we go from glory to glory, we need to go from being one way to learning how to evolve in that way and make space and room for other people. So I think that's important. So at the core of my work, at the core of the trauma work is God. And this is why when I engage spaces and I work with women, and sometimes I sit and listen to, the impact, and I'm just like, thank you, God, because that's all you got, right? Although He's using me as a vehicle, and that comes across to women. They will say, I felt like God used you as a vehicle of love, of healing. I still get text messages sometimes like, you have no idea. I love you. You have changed my life. I hope we can catch up so I can fill you in with all the things that are happening. And some people, I'm watching them on social media like, oh my goodness, these are people, some women were afraid to even just step out. But sometimes it's hard to step out if you haven't stepped in, if you haven't went inside and really loved on yourself, looked around and said, oh, that thing is still here from when that harm happened or when that breakup happened, right? So it's all of these things that we really need to kind of pay attention to in the healing work. But for me, at the center, when I show up in spaces, it's always, God, let me know what I'm missing. You supervise me in this space. And that's how I show up when I work with people, because yes, I have a social work skill set. I have the credentials. I've done training in integrative trauma with the National Institute on Psychotherapy. So, and I've been doing this work for years, over a decade. And for me, it's still not the opportunity to show up with other women to say, well, I know this better than you. Because the only person that knows their pain is the person who's experiencing their pain. And so if we can stop as a people just immediately telling people what to do and listen to them and give them room to speak, the answer is already there. It's just really helping them to go inside so they can pull it out, especially when I'm working with women of faith. Because if you already know that God, his DNA is inside of you and that he dwells within you, and you say things about him like, oh, he's wonderful, he's amazing. Well, then what are you? You're wonderful. You're amazing, right? And so it's important that we start to just attend to those things.
Well said. I love it. I am loving it. I love the passion, I must say, because your face, it just lights up when you begin to talk about your work. So I can tell that you love what you do. I know sometimes you can hear from some people, and when they speak, it's like the voice just does not connect. I can just connect with that you are in it. You are in it. You really love what you do. So I commend you for all that phenomenal work that you are doing out there and making such great impact that our women have a voice. Even if they can't speak, you are able to speak on their behalf. So I want to thank you for doing that, for just serving, because it takes a lot to serve, and serving is
It
key.
does.
So I want to thank you for that. Now, you are a part of our magazine. You're one of our cover girls for our third edition of I Am Bold and Fearless Woman magazine. So I have to ask this question. Tell us, what are some of your expectations? What do you expect to be able to accomplish from being a part of this magazine?
Well, so the other thing that I really love about what you're doing and the I am bold, right? That's what we need.
Yes.
We need that. Dr. Martin Luther King has a book called Strength to Love, right?
Mm.
And we need that boldness. We need that courage to step out and again step in, but to also, you know, be able to mirror for other women that I am the other you, right? And it goes back to Ubuntu, because I am, you are, because you are, therefore we're all interconnected. So if I am bold and you don't feel bold today, you can draw on some of that boldness from me. And I'll do the same thing. Like that's what the sisterhood is really about, coming together where we can have a symbiotic relationship.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, what would you say to that person right now who's watching, and they're thinking, okay, I am Bold and Beautiful magazine. Why should I be a part of that magazine? I know you shared why you have been a part of it, but why do you think that someone else should want to be a part of it?
I think someone else should be a part of it because we have all been given a voice, right? And our voice is our vocal cord. It's the only instrument that humans are born with, right? Our voice. And I encourage you to honor the power of your voice. And that's what this magazine does, right? It honors your voice in such a way that it increases the impact of your message, of how you can make those connections, and of the mission, at least of, for me, is to heal, right? So whatever your mission is to make the world more beautiful than what it is now, then that's the space. And so I would encourage you and invite you to step up to be I am a bold, fearless woman and make your mark.
Yes, absolutely. Make your mark. Well, you heard it right here. We're getting ready to close, but before we do, I want to give you an opportunity to share your final words. I want, if there's a woman right now, she's watching and she's struggling. We've talked about resilience here. We talked about what it means to build that and to have the growth through when you're going through. And all of that sounds really good. But when you're actually in the moment, sometimes it can be really, really hard to pull on that. So I want you to just give her a few words of encouragement, to continue to tarry.
Sure. So wherever you are, the one thing I want you to know is you're not alone. You're not alone. And there are things that you can do immediately, right? Just for you. And one of those things is to pause and to rest and to get away from the noise. And in those moments, to take a history test. Because sometimes we keep going through, we have to go back to the last time we faced something that we thought we wouldn't come out, but we did. Because you can. That's what resilience is. It's already in you, and you can come through and recover. But it begins with you giving your space the opportunity to feel what you need to feel, and know that you're not a failure, and know that you are worthy and you are enough just because. And if you need help, it's important for you to call and ask for help. That's what I would leave with you.
That I love the last one. If you need help, because we have a problem with asking for help. So if you need help, you heard it right here. don't be afraid to ask for help. Never suffer in silence. You don't have to do it alone. So you are watching right now and you're saying to yourself, oh my goodness, I absolutely connect with this phenomenal lady. I want to know more about her work. I want to know where I can find out more about what she's doing, what's next for her. I want you to tell them where they can find you and what you have coming up that they can be a part of.
Sure. Well, you can find me at, you can email me first at tomei@brammybeautifulinc.com. And my website is also brammybeautifulinc.com. I do have an upcoming program, a group program that I'm going to be launching. But you can go to the website and just join the waiting list right now because I have not launched it, but I would love to still connect with you because for me, what's important is that we build community, that we get to know each other, right? And then see how we can work together and that we're a good fit. So I encourage you to show up and not hide behind any pain, right? You don't have to hide your smile behind the pain. You can be your authentic, beautiful self. So I thank you again, Kamisha, for this process, this episode, this space to have this conversation with people, because oftentimes we just think about the business that we have to attend to and that we're grinding and grinding, but really to be your most beautiful self, you need rest. You need to care about you, and it's more than a hairdo, it's more than getting your nails done, and it's more than a day off from work. It's something that is inherent in who you are because biologically our body heals itself. And so that's what you're called to do.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So, Altomi, I really just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, for being so open and passionate. I'm sure that the ladies who were on tonight, that they have been able to feel encouraged. For those of them who would be able to come later and catch the replay, I know they're going to definitely be encouraged as well. So, thank you so much. So don't go yet.
Thank
We have one last commercial, and after that, then we will be gone from here, and we'll see you back tomorrow night as we are going to be interviewing another phenomenal lady who is also a part of our magazine as well. So stay with us.
Are you an international speaker, a coach, an author? Do you have something to share to help women feel empowered, encouraged, and inspired? If the answer is yes, then we are looking for you. We are looking for speakers for our 3-day virtual summit happening April 19th to 21st. And we are ready to hear what you have to share. If you have something that you want to share that you know can help women to birth their visions, birth their purpose, and walk in what God has called them to be, then you need to go right ahead and sign up for more information. This event is happening April 19th to April 21st, and you are the person that we are looking for. See you there.
That's right. So once again, don't forget, send us the email. We want to hear from you. We want to have you a part of the lineup. You have a story, you have a voice, and we want to help you to get that voice across, get that story out there so that other women can be impacted and persons can run and they can birth the vision, birth the purpose, follow through with the goals and the dreams that they have written out so they can accomplish these things this year and not another year, but this year, because this is the time. So if you know that's you, I want you to go right ahead, send us that email. I will be more than happy to have you a part of this virtual summit. So once again, you have been a part of the I Am Woman show. And tonight you heard from my beautiful guest, Eltome Varlack-Butler, and she shared her story on resilience with us. If you just joined us and you missed most of it, that's okay. We're going to leave this video up so that you can come back and you can replay as many times as you want. And please feel free to share with your friends and with your family so that they too can be encouraged. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, the same time, at the same place, where we continue to talk about women of resilience for the upcoming third edition of I Am Bold and Fearless Women magazine. See you soon. Bye.